What's up, YouTube? It is the year 1598, and I thought this would be a good time to update you guys once again on my Prussian or Brandenburg playthrough. And usually I show you guys the timeline here. I did at least in the last video to start out with. But the problem is this event remains in the timeline here when I open it up. I did want to show you guys this though, because as you can see, my heir has died due to this event, which it just happens, rip, your dude's dead. Now, if we look at my heir, he's 256, pretty good. Obviously, the 6 comes from Prussian ideas. My ruler is, or Prussian government type rather. My ruler is 54 years old. And I'm nervous that I don't have a good heir once I accept this. But what is really crazy here, guys, is you will notice that my king is Wesselbach, who is the same dynasty as Denmark, Bavaria, and the Palatinate. Obviously, the only one that is significant is Denmark. Now, how did this occur? What happened? You can see that my heir is not Wesselbach. I actually had, somehow, I had a queen. I had a queen earlier. It wasn't relevant, so I didn't really mention it. But my male regent actually established himself as a king. So this was actually my regent that I acquired, or, I guess king, but he wasn't in hold of the throne. He was the queen's husband from an old marriage with Denmark. However, when my prince came of age, he didn't inherit the throne. Her husband inherited the throne. So my dynasty, his dynasty, is Wesselbach, but naturally their child remained with my own dynasty. But here's the situation, guys. You can see here that I have PU'd Hungary as well, and I'm going to insert a clip soon of some of the past wars. But this is just a crazy scenario, guys, because what may well happen here when I do this, I'm really hoping I already have an heir. I think my dynasty is going to switch to (446). That's good stats. Wesselbach. Oh my god, my pronunciation is probably bad, guys, so I apologize for that. But I just officially flipped Dynasty to Denmark's Dynasty. Obviously, the Palatinate and Bavaria are nothing at this stage. But it's almost the year 1600, and I suspect I'm going to be able to PU Denmark as well. And as you can see, thanks to my alliance, essentially, with him, long-standing alliance, he has managed to integrate both of his unions, and he has actually expanded out of Scandinavia. So he is, a tremendous potential union. So, man, this game, I'm telling you, man, sometimes, a lot of you have been here for some hard times. When this game is, when you're never lucky, you're never lucky, dude. But sometimes, the opposite happens when you get everything, the stars align, you know what I'm saying? So feeling really good about that. I've done these updates multiple times, guys. It's pretty self-explanatory what is going on. I'm just fighting the whole world, basically. I just finished up a war against France where I took all of this, and I now have almost literally every province apart from this one, 91% control in the English Channel, which is the most wealthy trading region at this stage of the game. I think I can see Beijing. Yep, so in the year 1600, we should have, I think the global trade spawns in the wealthiest region, and it will be in a province of the wealthiest region. So it's almost guaranteed that it will be in Holland or London, which means I will gain global trade first. Alright, I just wanted to include this clip, guys, to give you an idea of how intense and intensive this has actually been. So the whole world basically hates me. I didn't manage to pull the Papal State as an ally, and he's pretty rubbish anyway. Thankfully, I did grab Portugal, which is probably, he's certainly stronger, so probably a better, ally there. So that's something. I'm currently over 50% of the way integrating Bohemia, but you can see I'm involved in a huge war. That is basically the story of my life. I've been involved in constant back-to-back wars since about 1550. But to give you guys an idea of what's going on here, I'm trying to fully annex the Netherlands so that this rebel nonsense is a thing of the past, because I currently own 6 provinces which are Dutch or Flemish culture, and I'm getting these very common events. Now, I'm very close to a full annexation here of the Netherlands. The problem is, however, I'm fighting an entire coalition, including Spain. So I cannot get to 100%. I've been working a long time. I've sat on him. I've got ticking war score. Thankfully, his enthusiasm is getting so rubbish that I am, it appears, going to be able to fully annex him. Then Flanders defects from Austria, who I have now declared war on, and in an effort to prevent them from joining the Netherlands, because that would be very upsetting if they did. The Netherlands would be way above 100% war score. But as you can see, I'm also at war with France. And the reason I declared war on France is because another coalition was growing of France, Bavaria, Ravensburg. And I thought, the issue is, guys, France is allied to Denmark. So I was thinking ahead. I managed to call Denmark in against the Netherlands, meaning that I can actually fight France, but I wish to peace out France first before the Netherlands, because then I'll be at war with my ally Denmark. So yeah, this is pretty intense stuff, guys. I desperately want to peace out the Netherlands, but I feel like I should do France first. France's enthusiasm is too high. And although we've got a lot of allies like Denmark helping us against this large coalition of the Netherlands, most of everything, of course, is done by myself. I was requested that I show you guys some other situations in the previous video. So I want to give you guys an idea. Even with this occupation with London, I'm usually around 74% control in the English Channel. The English Channel is the best trading node, which means global trade will probably spawn in my country, which is pretty cool. And my economy, I'm extremely wealthy, as you can see. Manpower is completely kaput, as usual, resorting to the mercenary birds. Nothing different, pretty standard stuff here. I have 95 force limit, stronger than France, stronger than pretty much everybody except Ming, Russia, and the Ottomans. We're stronger than Spain, stronger than Austria. Austria's been taking some serious blows, just getting more and more and more diminished. But you might wonder what's happened to Hungary, my ally Hungary. Hungary did lose a war where Tuscany was fighting Siena, and he called in his... Do you guys remember I showed you Tuscany's diplomacy? Apparently now he's lost the diplomacy, but he... was allied to France and called him against Hungary, where he lost some provinces to Venice in a separate peace, returned core. Then Hungary was attacked by the Ottomans. Now, it's not that I dishonored my alliance, I broke my alliance with him, guys, because of that. I don't know how, but he's got a weak claim all of a sudden, and I have claimed his throne. So my truce comes up with Hungary in 1 year. He's allied to Austria. Austria thankfully should be a bit of a pushover, but at this rate, perhaps he will not even back him up in the war. Austria really hates me, as you can see. Look at that modifier, positive 120. Now, unfortunately, Hungary is getting ruffle-stomped by the Ottomans. The Ottomans will take a huge chunk, I'm sure. But even with what remains, I mean, Hungary took so much that, he's going to be a large PU even if he gets wrecked by the Ottomans. And, of course, we're going to have some nice reconquest there. So it's not the end of the world, that's for sure. But I just wanted to show you guys this clip. Forgive the discoloration, by the way. When I record at night, I just can't get good lighting at the moment. And I have to fiddle around with my settings and make myself look hideous, but it's the best I can do. And yeah, so really crazy stuff. What is even more crazy, guys, is I'm looking at this kind, like, this is how hardcore I'm going, guys. I'm looking for the full annexation of Flanders, followed up by the full annexation of the Netherlands, followed up by a large chunk of France. I would love to take this stuff in the English Channel, but I think it's just too crazy to kind of have a colony here at the moment. I've got too much going on. I don't want to rely on transports. So I am going to sort of just make my way out in this kind of manner. But of course, you can see the massive amount of overextension that these kind of wars are giving me. So I just wanted to show you guys that I'm probably going to be starting this war with Hungary. Although it shouldn't be that hard. It's going to be another priority. Just going absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. The only province I managed to take Augsburg. That's actually when I broke my alliance with Austria. He was allied to Augsburg, and I was just like, screw it, let's go in, because I wanted to fight the coalition, or keep whack-a-moling it and keeping it fractured. If we look at forming Germany here, I need these two provinces. We're integrating it right now, and Nuremberg. In a sense, Nuremberg is the only province that I don't have. And yeah, I'll tell you what, does he have any allies? He does. I think as soon as my truce comes up with him, I should just attack him and fight the Emperor. Nowadays, that's going to be the tactic, so we'll just have to separate piece each of these guys. But yeah, crazy game, loving it. So you guys requested in the previous video that I show you a little bit more in detail some of the different views of what's going on. So as you can see, the trade, pretty self-explanatory. If I had more merchants, I would be pulling a lot more. We have massive influence over the Rhine, over Saxony, and actually I imagine in the future years our influence over Champagne is going to increase, in Vienna, etc. Global trade does give you a merchant, if I remember correctly, and we'll be gaining that merchant fairly soon. If we go ahead and look at our income, I'm getting almost 50 ducats a month from tax. Production is close behind, as I am building more and more manufactories. And trade, they're all actually fairly close. I'm making 12.2 with this overextension. I'm actually making something more like about 50 ducats a turn. And I do plan to begin maxing out my advisors at +3 here. As far as my ideas, we've got influence, religious, quality, and offensive. It's one of my preferences as Prussia to really take advantage of these you know, 6s, 4, 5s, and 6s. The worst stat you can get here is actually 4. Now keep in mind that this was a regent, like I talked about earlier. He didn't have the benefit. It was a long time ago. This guy's been around for 54 years. But we're going to have at the worst 4 and so on. I've talked about that. So I really like smashing out some of these military ideas, and we're still doing a pretty good job keeping up in technology as well. As far as my army tradition, you can see here that it's pretty much maintaining around the cap. You know, it reduces a little bit. I go back to war and it's capped out again. And of course, I did actually consider taking defensive ideas because I really like defensive overall. I think it's one of the better ones to take. It's the most economical one. So I feel like when you're not at your capacity, it's one of the most efficient ones to take. But it did actually occur to me, I love the army tradition. That's one thing I like about defensive. In this case, my army tradition is so high all of the time that it's almost wasted. You know, I never really thought about it that way, but I'm usually not in this kind of scenario where I'm just going from war to war to war to war to war. And yeah, that's one reason I actually skipped offensive, and that way I really get the luxury of this siege ability. I love it. So what else should we look at? Let's look at our culture here really quickly. Pretty standard stuff. These two changed from when I formed Prussia, and I have culturally converted these. These are the most significant ones because this is actually a territory that I've stated up. It was a fairly good state, and I did culturally convert these just when I had a sort of an abundance in Diplo, which I don't have at the moment. But yeah, this isn't even stated up. I am looking at the French region. I'm going to have the foresight to. So some of these can be cultural converted soon, I imagine, as the separatism is beginning to diminish. But what I am going to do is actually, for a reduced price, I will be converting this probably to like Swabian or Rhinish, and some Flemish here as well, because yeah, I suspect that I will be able to form an empire government rank and get the cultural union before I actually form Germany. You do need that admin tech 20 to form Germany, which is quite a ways away. And the only provinces I need remaining to form Germany is, of course, these two that are 92% of the way integrated from Bohemia, and then Nuremberg. So I essentially need, there's only one province that is not under my control to form Germany, but I'm considering trying to dismantle the empire. So if I can fight one war against Austria and hold the Palatinate's capital and Austria's capital, then that is going to be the end of the empire. The problem is that I've been having sort of truces with them. It looks like the Palatinate's truce is actually coming up here shortly. So he's allied to the Ottomans, of course he is. So I will probably be actually annexing him, and then it will just be a matter of next time I'm fighting the Austrian coalition, I'll dismantle the empire, then we can form government rank, and boom, that's going to be fantastic. Let's have a look really quickly at my states. Pretty standard stuff. I would have liked to have spent these two in Germany, but they were both very large anyway, and I did that so I could accept rather the English culture group. So I do plan to also convert some of the British Isles to English as well. Let's look really quickly at my accepted cultures. Pretty standard stuff. I've got the English and Polish. The Polish is quite a large group, and definitely going to be converting, neighboring provinces to Polish and English potentially in the future if I think it's worth my while. But that diplomacy looking absolutely beautiful. The fact that I could potentially PU Denmark as well is just fantastic. But obviously I would rather Russia, and we're just going to have to gobble him up, I think. It seems most likely that we're just going to have to gobble Russia up, but that's going to be very much enjoyable in the next age. Once our absolutism is capped out, we will gobble everything up. And people wanted to see, like, the unrest. I don't know where unrest is. Map mode. I mean, I'm very stable, guys. Let's put it that way. I'm very stable. I just took this region. When I did end up actually reconquesting on behalf of Hungary after the personal union, and in that war I took one province here. Oh, by the way, Hungary also self-autonomously went into Serbia here. So, he's massive. He went into Serbia and took about as much as he had lost, and then I actually went into for the reconquest against the Ottomans, smashed them, which is hilarious. Like, we truly are the #1 guy, guys. I just bashed around the Ottomans. I out-military teched him at the time. We had more, ideas here, blah, blah, blah. My army tradition's higher, prestige is higher, and really just had my way with him. And I took this one province here of Kosovo so that I have the Deus Vult against him now because I border him, and gives us the opportunity to just expand into him now as well freely whenever I want, take over more of the Balkan region. So this game's going really, really well, and it's getting to a point here where I'm so powerful that it is actually becoming fairly easy sneezels to fight the coalitions, as long as they are not all together. But honestly, even the whole coalition together, guys, at this stage, I just fought a coalition, the largest one so far, where it was, England, France, Austria, and some smaller nations. You can see this here if you want to pause and look. The truce of 1609, all of that was one coalition, and the French actually out-teched me, as you can see. He has defensive completed, and he's got good ideas as well. But by utilizing in an offensive war the Holy War CB, the war score, of course, is winning battles. And the way that I win a war like that, I was outnumbered, 2.5 to 1. And the way that I win the battles is I poise my troops ready to just go in against Ravensburg, Nuremberg, stuff like that, Bremen, and I declare the war and instantly get some nice battles won. And I just focus on winning the battles. I just boom, 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 stack wipe, win the battles, and I got all the way up to about 55% war, or 55 war score without even taking a single province. And then I went into Paris, which really lowered his enthusiasm, and peaced out. I wish I would have taken Nuremberg, but being non-co-belligerent, because he was part of the coalition, it was about the same war score cost as all of this. So it was one or the other, and that looks better to me. I think having dominance over the English Channel is actually a better move, considering... Oh, there's some pirates here. I'm going to detect some heavy ships to deal with them. Hunt the pirates in the English Channel. Yeah, because global trade was spawning there, I didn't want the small chance that like France would get it or something like that. But that constitutes a good update, guys. Once we integrate Bohemia, which is almost there, I mean, my country is going to look so sweet. Like, never mind northern Germany. I mean, we're almost all of northern Europe. I love having this broad border along the top of all of Europe. Feels so good, man. And yeah, fantastic. When can I begin integrating Hungary? 1632. Cool. So we didn't fall too far behind, as you can see on Diplo points, even though I've been gaining 2 monthly and spending 7 every month, and that's with overextension. We've actually been around 0, actually, gainage. And that's just about done. I'll be able to catch up again on Diplo, and yeah, have 30 years or so of prosperity in that regards of Diplo points. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll make sure to update you guys again in around 50 years.